What's up guys, coming at you with another video. Today we got week 6 college football recap. Let's get into it. First game we got this week is the Red River rivalry. This game was a classic between Oklahoma and Texas. Oklahoma ended up winning the game 34-30 in a back and forth matchup that was awesome to watch. My key takeaway from this game is that Texas had way too many turnovers, with Quinn Ewers having 2 picks and 1 fumble. Even though these turnovers may not have been his fault, it ended up hurting the Longhorns, which made them lose the game. One of the turnovers came in the red zone, which was crucial for the Longhorns because it gave up points. Even though they ended up having a punt that was blocked for a touchdown, it still hurt them. Also, Oklahoma was able to score 14 points off these turnovers. At the end of the fourth quarter, it looked like Texas was about to win the game, but Oklahoma came storming back with close to a minute left and scored a late game touchdown, which sealed Texas's fate. This was overall a very crazy game, with Oklahoma stopping Texas on the 1-yard line and Texas having a blocked punt for a touchdown. One thing I will say is that I see both of these teams meeting again at some point during the season. Most likely during the Big 12 championship, but I wouldn't count Texas out. I think they make it back to the Big 12 championship game, and I think they may get revenge on the Oklahoma Sooners. My player of the game is Dillon Gabriel. He had 285 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 113 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. And he also had the game-winning drive that helped the Sooners win the game. The next game we got this week is Alabama versus Texas A&M. Alabama ended up winning the game 26-20, and I was actually at this game, so I'll show a couple videos and photos of how the game went, but the atmosphere was crazy for this game. Alabama even had 9 false starts, which is very unusual for a Nick Saban coached team. The main thing I took away from this game is that we have to applaud Jalen Milroe. He played a great game. He facilitated very well, and he also made some very good plays. Even on a 4th down, he made a tremendous play to seal the game for Bama. He did this even though a bunch of Bama fans counted him out, and Bama was even looking for a different quarterback at one point during the USF game where they didn't even play him. So congrats to Jalen Milroe. This was another crazy game with a blocked field goal that ended up being called back because there was a blindside block by Bama, which I didn't really even see, but another crazy game this week. My player of the game is obviously Jalen Milroe. He had 321 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, which helped Bama win the game. The next game we got is LSU versus Missouri. LSU ended up winning the game 49-39 in a Jaden Daniels masterclass. Jaden Daniels had a huge bounce back performance this week, leading LSU to win. Even though he didn't have a horrible week against Ole Miss, he had a couple plays late down the stretch which kind of hurt the LSU Tigers, but this week he played a phenomenal game which helped them beat Missouri. Missouri led for most of this game, with LSU storming back late down the stretch, but for most of the game, Missouri looked like the better team, but LSU ended up with the dub. Even though LSU won by 10, LSU had a late pick 6 which bolstered their lead against Missouri and made the win look a little bit more dominant than it was. But overall, this was a very close game. My player of the game is Jaden Daniels. He had 259 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 130 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown, and played a very clean game this week. Quick side note, I just wanted to talk about how does Colorado get so much media coverage even though they barely beat a 1-5 Arizona State team? Like, it doesn't make sense. And they barely won by a game-winning field goal. I know they have like Shedeur Sanders and they have primetime obviously, but I don't know why we give coverage to a team that barely beats a 1-5 Arizona State team. Like, make it make sense. The next game we got this week is Georgia versus Kentucky. Georgia ended up winning this game 51-13 in a very dominant performance. During this game, Georgia got back to Georgia football. They looked like the Georgia that we're used to and that we've used to see for the last 2 years, and it was an overall dominant performance from start to finish. Carson Beck continues to improve for the Bulldogs. Even though he started off the season a little shaky, he has continued to improve throughout the season, and he's looking like a viable quarterback right now. If he continues to play like this, Georgia's going to be a major threat in the college football playoff. My player of the game is Carson Beck with 389 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 pick. The next game we got is Louisville versus Notre Dame. Louisville ended up winning the game 33-20 in a back and forth matchup that was very fun to watch. The reason why the Irish lost this matchup was because of Sam Hartman. He had 5 total turnovers, which killed Notre Dame and made it so that it was almost impossible to win this game. Even though it was an away game, they could have won this game if Sam Hartman played even a little bit better. After this win, a lot of people are comparing this Louisville team to the last year's TCU team. I don't really see it yet. I know they're explosive and they're very fun to watch, but I just need to maybe watch them more, but I don't really see it. My player of the game is Devin Neal. He had 8 tackles, 1 pass deflection, and 2 picks, which helped the Louisville Cardinals win this game. Another quick side note, how idiotic is Mario Cristobal? Like, I mean, all you had to do was kneel it and you would have won the game. But he decides to run it, running back gets stripped, and he ends up losing the game to Georgia Tech, which they're a decent team, but they're not even a top team in the ACC. And the bad thing is he's done it before. He did it at Oregon, where he should have kneed it, but they lost because he didn't kneel it. And you saw the pictures of his players crying. It's just bad coaching. He's a great recruiter, but he's an average to below average coach. The last game I got for you this week is USC versus Arizona. USC ended up pulling out a 43-41 win in a thrilling triple overtime victory. Even though USC didn't look very good during this game, I think it made Caleb Williams' Heisman stock go skyrocketing because he put USC on his back and he led them to a win even though they probably shouldn't have won this game. One thing I am questioning about this game is Arizona's last play call in the third overtime. They run a running back toss to the left and there was just no edge blocking. And they didn't have numbers on that side, so I didn't get the play call. Even though they lost this game, they put up a good effort, and I'd like to see what they do for the rest of the season. Even though USC won this game, it's another bad defensive performance. While I was watching this game, I just saw people out there that they didn't even look like they knew what they were doing. They didn't even look like they should play college football. It didn't look very good for the USC Trojans, and hopefully they can shore this part of their game up. My player of the game, it's obviously Caleb Williams. He had 4 touchdowns and some very clutch plays that led the Trojans to win in triple OT. I do want to give a quick shout out to Arizona's quarterback, Noah Fafita. He had 300 passing yards and 5 touchdowns, and he gave his team a chance to win the game even though they lost. So that's it for the Week 6 recap. I hope y'all enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and put notifications on, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.